Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we are going to completely demystify some of the most complex, maybe even intimidating business concepts out there. And we're going to do it by looking at them through a completely brand new lens. I want you to stop thinking about accounting as just endless rows of numbers. Instead, try thinking of financial accounting like a comprehensive medical checkup for a company. Don't worry, there's no need to turn your head and cough, but we are definitely going to look under the hood. Just like a doctor uses specific tools to assess your physical health, business professionals use very specific diagnostic tools to measure the health of an enterprise. So let me ask you this. How do you really know if a business is actually healthy? I mean, a shiny storefront or a super clever marketing campaign, that doesn't really tell you what's going on beneath the surface. To find out if a company is truly thriving, we have to look at its vital signs. And in the business world, those vital signs are financial statements. Now, these aren't just boring spreadsheets meant to put you to sleep. They are the essential diagnostic reports used to determine the true operational and financial strength of a business. They tell us everything about profitability, stability, liquidity, and overall efficiency. I absolutely love this definition from the accounting scholar W.B. Meggs. He calls financial statements organized summaries of detailed accounting information, arranged in a convenient and understandable form. And honestly, that is our ultimate goal today. We want to translate dense, heavy accounting facts into clear, actionable summaries. We're taking the raw data, literally all the thousands of daily transactions a business makes, and organizing them so that anyone can understand the story they're trying to tell. All right, let's jump into Section 1, Taking the Vitals, the Big Three Statements. To really take these vitals, we need to head into the examination room. Just like a doctor checks your pulse or your blood pressure, an accountant looks at a few core reports to get a baseline reading. These are our three main diagnostic tools. First up, we have the balance sheet. This shows the financial position, so the assets, liabilities, and owner's equity, on one very specific date. Next, we've got the trading and profit and loss account, or the P&L. This one measures financial performance, tracking our gross and net profit or loss over a specific accounting period. And finally, the cash flow statement. Think of this as the pulse monitor for liquidity, tracking the exact inflows and outflows of cash from operating, investing, and financing activities. To make this even easier to remember, try thinking of it this way. The balance sheet is a snapshot, but the P&L, that's a video. A balance sheet freezes time completely. It looks at the patient on, say, December 31st at exactly 11:59 p.m. and asks, okay, what do you own and what do you owe right this second? But the profit and loss account is a video recording that captures the results of the operations over an entire accounting period, like the whole 12 months of the year. Both are absolutely critical for a proper diagnosis, but they give us two very different perspectives. Moving right along to Section 2, the rules of the exam room. Because in order for these vitals to be trustworthy, they have to be governed by strict rules. The foundational characteristic here is that these statements are based on actual recorded facts. They have to be supported by hard documentary evidence. We're talking invoices, receipts, vouchers, the whole shebang. They also follow generally accepted accounting principles, or GAAP, and they reflect historical transactions that have already happened. But here is where it gets super fascinating. Despite all the hard facts and evidence, preparing these statements still heavily requires personal, professional judgment. Things like estimating depreciation or figuring out how to value inventory, that isn't an exact science. It requires an expert's educated opinion. And those professional judgments are guided by some key conventions. Take the conservatism principle, for example. This rule requires accountants to anticipate losses, but never anticipate profits. Essentially, it means accountants are trained to be professional pessimists. Seriously, they are always planning for the worst-case scenario, and this is actually a good thing because it ensures prudent reporting so that a company never overstates how healthy it really is. It's way better to be pleasantly surprised by a profit than totally blindsided by a loss, right? This builds directly into another major rule, the going concern assumption. When accountants draft these statements, they operate under the assumption that the business patient is going to stay alive and keep functioning for the foreseeable future. We aren't planning for a sudden liquidation sale tomorrow. This long-term perspective completely changes how we record the value of long-term assets and liabilities. Oh, and we definitely can't forget the accrual concept. This principle tells us to recognize revenues and expenses when they are actually earned or incurred, regardless of when the physical cash changes hands. This is absolutely crucial because it tracks the real financial action as it happens. So, if you perform a service in November, but the client doesn't actually pay you until January, the accrual concept ensures you record that revenue in November when the work was done. It just gives us a much more accurate picture of performance. Now, let's look at Section 3. Who is reading the chart? We have our vitals and our rules, but who is actually looking at this medical chart to make major decisions? Well, the users generally fall into two camps: internal and external. Internal users, like top management and finance managers, are looking at the charts for strategic planning, controlling operations, and checking if their business policies are actually working. On the flip side, external users, like investors, lenders, and even the government, are looking from the outside in. An investor wants to evaluate growth prospects and return on investment. A lender, like a bank, is evaluating repayment capacity and risk before they hand over millions of dollars. They all read the exact same chart, but they are looking for entirely different symptoms. Which brings us to Section 4, running the diagnostics, types of analysis. Because just having a chart doesn't cure the patient, right? You have to actually process the data. Let's look at how professionals do this. First up, we have horizontal versus vertical analysis. Horizontal analysis is dynamic. It involves comparing financial data over several years. Think of it like looking at a patient's medical history over the last 5 years to spot long-term growth patterns or maybe declining trends. Vertical analysis, on the other hand, is static. It's a deep dive into one single test result within one single accounting period. You're breaking down how each individual item relates to the whole, like checking exactly what percentage of your total expenses went directly to payroll this year. Then we have fundamental versus technical analysis. Fundamental analysis is where you really act like a doctor, evaluating the actual intrinsic accounting health of the company using the statements and broader economic factors. Technical analysis is a bit different. It doesn't care quite as much about the internal accounting. Instead, it evaluates the company's stock by looking at market trends, trading volume, and price movements. It's looking at the market's momentum rather than the internal vitals. Now, regardless of the type of analysis you run, the procedure follows a pretty logical 5-phase path. First, you gather, select, and classify your data. Second, you choose your analytical tools, like calculating specific financial ratios. Third, you analyze and compare the figures to find strengths and weaknesses. Fourth, you interpret what those results actually mean in the real world. And finally, step 5, you report your findings and make a strategic business decision. It is a very systematic journey from gathering raw clues to making a final, informed choice. But hey, let's get real for a second, and Section 5, the X-rays blind spots, limitations. Before we crown financial statements as the ultimate source of truth, we need a reality check. Just like a medical X-ray can show you a broken bone but can't tell you if the patient is feeling super stressed out, financial statements have some pretty serious blind spots. They do not tell the entire story of a business. While statements are great at showing historical costs and quantifiable past transactions, look at what they completely ignore. They ignore the impacts of current inflation. They ignore future performance. And most importantly, they ignore massive qualitative factors. Things like employee morale, the quality of management, brand reputation, and customer satisfaction are literally nowhere to be found on a balance sheet. And these limitations lead to some hidden flaws that we definitely must be aware of as analysts. Because statements rely heavily on subjective judgments, there is a real risk of management manipulation, something accountants call window dressing. It's literally like putting an Instagram filter on your finances to make them look prettier than they actually are right before the end of the year. The balance sheet is static. They omit critical social and environmental data. And remember, they're historical records. They aren't magical crystal balls, and they offer absolutely no guarantee of future profitability. Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. If financial statements only show us the historical past, and if they have all these limitations and blind spots, how will you use them to predict the future? Well, the answer lies in your ability to apply the analytical skills we've discussed today. You have to read between the lines, spot the trends, and combine the hard historical data with your own understanding of the broader world. The vitals are just the starting point. The real diagnosis is entirely up to you. Thanks so much for joining me today, and keep learning.